Jordan Ta'amu was never supposed to make it in the game of football. He was an under-the-radar prospect who only really had Division II opportunities coming out of high school. That did not stop him from betting on himself, paving his own path. Now, he is one of the biggest names playing in the USFL and has been a part of multiple NFL teams. How did we get here? Stay tuned to find out. Jordan Teololo Ta'amu Parafanos was born on December 10th, 1997 in Oahu, Hawaii. Jordan attended Pearl City High School, a small school in Oahu. He led his team to the state title game in both 2013 and 2014, throwing for 1,779 yards, 29 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, as well as rushing for 392 rushing yards and 2 additional touchdowns on the ground. This resulted in Ta'amu being named to the All-State team and Division II Offensive Player of the Year. Coming out of high school, he only had partial Division II offers and one junior college offer. Jordan believed he had the talent to be a Division I quarterback, decided to go the junior college route. Jordan Ta'amu decided to commit to the New Mexico Military Institute in Roswell, New Mexico, and according to the school's website, they have a rich history and tradition of educating tomorrow's leaders through a program of strong, challenging academics, leadership preparation, and character development, and are also known as the West Point of the West. Ta'amu did not see a lot of playing time as a freshman, but would explode onto the scene his sophomore year. During the 2016 season, Ta'amu threw for 3,014 yards, 32 touchdowns, which ranked second nationally, 328 rushing yards, and an additional 7 touchdowns. During his first game, he threw for 8 touchdowns. Jordan would be named 2016 Southwest Junior College Football Conference Player of the Year, and according to 24/7 Sports, he was a 3-star recruit who was the 4th best JUCO dual-threat quarterback and 83rd overall JUCO prospect. He received offers from Ole Miss, Minnesota, New Mexico, Southern Miss, and Eastern Kentucky. During one recruiting trip, he was supposed to visit Ole Miss in Minnesota in the same weekend, but loved Oxford so much he canceled his visit to Minneapolis and committed on December 10th, 2016, his birthday, proving to everyone that he had Division I talent, but he wasn't done yet. His next goal was to make it to the NFL. Ta'amu came into the 2017 season behind former 5-star quarterback Shea Patterson. No one was talking about the former JUCO player until week 7 of the season when Patterson would tear his PCL against LSU. The crazy thing is, Patterson had taken over for former starter Chad Kelly, former JUCO player and Mr. Irrelevant, the previous year after he injured his knee. Ta'amu would go 7 for 11, throwing for 78 yards in relief of Patterson. He was stable, calm, and a leader for the team. All things that you could connect to his time at the New Mexico Military Institute. Ta'amu finished the season throwing for 1,682 yards, 11 touchdowns, while also rushing for 165 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground. He became the first quarterback in school history to throw back-to-back 350-yard games in SEC play. He would do it in his first 3 starts and finish the year going 3-2 as a starter. All of a sudden, there were off-season rumors of a quarterback battle between the former 5-star quarterback and the guy who had no Division I offers coming out of high school. Shea Patterson would decide to transfer to Michigan and said he felt misled by Ole Miss in his recruitment. Jordan was named the starter, and Ole Miss finished the year 5-7. They would drop their last 5 games of the season, including 2 close losses to South Carolina and Vanderbilt, as well as a blowout loss to Mississippi State, 35-3 in the Egg Bowl. Ta'amu would receive a lot of the blame for the rough season, although he had one of the best statistical years ever for an Ole Miss quarterback. He threw for 3,918 yards, 19 touchdowns, and only 8 interceptions. He added 342 yards on the ground and an additional 6 touchdowns. Ta'amu had 9 300-plus yard games, a school record, 7 350-plus yard games, and 3 400-plus yard games, another school record. He broke the school record for yards per attempt with 9.37 yards, as well as finishing second all-time in passing yards in a season. He also led the SEC in passing yards per game with 326.5 yards and total offense. Ole Miss also averaged 33.9 points per game, which ranked 30th in the nation. So why did Ole Miss struggle? Their defense allowed 36.2 points per game, which ranked 114th nationally. Jordan Ta'amu finished his career at Ole Miss playing in 20 games where he threw for 5,600 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. He was invited to the NFL Combine, but was not viewed as a top quarterback prospect going into the draft. Jordan went undrafted in the 2019 NFL Draft and signed with the Houston Texans, but was later cut. He then decided to sign with the XFL, where he was allocated to the St. Louis Battlehawks. There were a lot of questions around Ta'amu and whether he would be able to perform well in the league, and he used the doubt once again as motivation and would silence the non-believers. In week 1 of the season, Te'amu would put the league on notice when he led the Battlehawks to an, at the time, upset win over the league favorites, the Dallas Renegades, 15-9. He followed up his week 1 performance with another top performance and a loss to the Houston Roughnecks, 28-24. In week 3, Te'amu and the Battlehawks beat the New York Guardians 29-9. He led the Battlehawks to a 3-2 record, throwing for 1,050 yards, 5 touchdowns and 2 interceptions before the season was canceled because of the ongoing global events. Te'amu led the league in completion percentage, second in passer rating with a rating of 101.3, third in passing yards, and 7th in rushing yards. He would sign with the reigning Super Bowl champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, on a 1-year deal and was excited to learn from Patrick Mahomes. He would then sign with their practice squad, but was released on October 27th. In December of 2020, Jordan would be signed to the Lions practice squad, but would return to the Chiefs on a reserve future contract in January. He was waived on May 10th and signed back with the Detroit Lions, getting cut a few days later. In December, he would sign with the Washington football team practice squad, but was released 8 days later. When fellow former XFL star PJ Walker tested positive for COVID-19, Te'amu would be signed to the Panthers practice squad, but would be released a few days later. A few hours before the USFL draft, it was announced that Jordan Te'amu was one of the first 8 picks in the draft. His name had been thrown around through multiple rumors, but nothing had been confirmed up until then. Some people hoped he would return to the XFL next year, but it looks like that won't be happening. Te'amu was taken 2nd overall by the Tampa Bay Bandits in the USFL draft, behind the player he actually pushed out of Ole Miss, Shea Patterson, who was drafted by Michigan. I love Jordan Te'amu's story and the journey he's been on, and I'm really hoping he can find a lot of success in the USFL and beyond. He is only 24, and it looks like he has a lot of football in front of him. But what do you think? How will Jordan Te'amu do in the USFL? Let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out my videos on 5 possible running backs in the USFL right here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.